It gave me a lot of relief to know that it wasn't all in my head.
For years, Ruth Graham lived here, at what used to be the Movement Center in the Kerns neighborhood in Portland, a place marketed as a yoga center, offering spiritual retreats and meditation. It was also a community where people like Graham lived. Now, 11 years after leaving the center, Graham is still processing what happened.
I was, I'm pretty sure, roofied and trafficked to a...
Graham says she was then raped by a visiting spiritual teacher.
But that wasn't the only sexual assault that happened.
She says she was also groped by the leader of the Movement Center, J. Michael Shoemaker.
What happened to me was very personal, so I didn't know that it was a whole system.
A system that several women tell us has gone on for decades. Now, 2 women are bringing a civil lawsuit against Shoemaker in hopes for justice for them and others. Last summer, the lawsuit was filed in federal court, alleging a woman who goes by the initials GM was groomed, trafficked, and repeatedly sexually assaulted by Shoemaker. Another woman who recently joined the suit goes by the initials DT and claims Shoemaker recruited and trafficked young women for decades.
And allowing our creative energy to flow.
The lawsuit is just the latest accusation against Shoemaker, who describes himself as a spiritual teacher and accomplished practitioner of meditation. Shoemaker denied a request for an interview, though in a statement, his lawyer says he'll explain how relationships were consensual at trial. The Movement Center, which closed in Portland in 2020, was funded by dozens of members who lived in the home with Shoemaker. Many worked for free in an assortment of roles like cooking and tending to the grounds. But people familiar with the center also tell KGW abuse was common.
She was brutalized by them.
Jane Lyons says her daughter lived at the center from 2016 to 2019 and was sexually assaulted while there. Before joining the center, Lyons says her daughter was a nursing assistant in Colorado with plans to get her nursing degree. She had an interest in Buddhism and spirituality and planned to visit the Movement Center for a weekend, but then suddenly decided to move to Portland and join the center. Her mother says she was love-bombed by Shoemaker, a term psychologists use to describe a showering of attention, usually with the intent to manipulate a person and create a fast bond.
She had that vacant look in her eyes, that $1 million smile on her face, that everything was wonderful. And she couldn't take her nursing boards.
Over time, Lyons says the relationship changed. Shoemaker pulled her daughter closer. Eventually, he raped and choked her.
She didn't talk for a while after she got accosted.
Thomas Harberts was living at the Movement Center when the alleged assault happened. He says Lyons' daughter was strangled to the point that she lost consciousness. When Lyons went to the Movement Center, she was told conflicting stories about what happened.
And in the morning, after I kind of roamed around the halls looking for my daughter, I found her. She was partially clad. She was peeing on towels. She was totally collapsed, couldn't walk.
3 other women told KGW they were also sexually assaulted by Shoemaker. One, who lived at the center from 2017 to 2019 and preferred to stay anonymous, sent us a text saying, "He strangled me whenever he felt like it, and he strangled me until I passed out. He strangled me countless times while I was showering in my bathroom."
I would love to see him go to prison.
Shoemaker has never faced criminal charges related to any of these accusations. He says the Movement Center is a place of spiritual growth and compassion, though his behavior allegedly stretches decades. 20 years ago, the Oregonian reported on 11 women who said Shoemaker had had sex with them, many of whom said it was non-consensual. They described the encounters as damaging, but another woman alleges Shoemaker's behavior began long before he moved to Portland.
The reason I came forward after all this time is hoping I can add something to the material needed to stop him.
Carolyn says she was living in Bloomington, Indiana in the early 1970s when she was raped by Shoemaker. She was 24 and worked in the Dow, a restaurant co-founded by Shoemaker. Carolyn says she lived in a commune with others where they practiced meditation and yoga. One day, Shoemaker asked her to come to the meditation room, where she thought he was going to teach her a breathing exercise. Instead, Carolyn says he raped her.
I don't remember the physical part. It just scared me, stunned me, shocked, because I thought this was a safe place.
Afterwards, she says Shoemaker told her that if she told anyone, she would lose the spiritual gift he gave her. Now she plans to testify against him in the pending lawsuit.
I want him to be held accountable for what he is and has done.
Thomas joins me now, and okay, what do we know about what's happening on the coast?
Yeah, so former members tell us that it's actually still going on with the movement center down there. Now, Shoemaker says he's retired. We reached out to the police chief of Gold Beach. He was aware Shoemaker was there, but he wasn't sure exactly what he or the people were doing there. We also reached out to the state representative in that area. They were completely unaware that this was going on at all.
Well, now a lot of people are going to know. The first woman in your story, is she part of that lawsuit?
So Ruth plans to testify in this lawsuit. Now, the reason she couldn't be a part of it and plaintiff in it is because her statute of limitations are up. She was there around 2013 was when she finally left the center of the statute of limitations for sexual assault. The attorney tells us in Oregon, 5 to 7 years. So statute of limitations up, but she will testify.
And all the interviews you had, there was a lot of pretty powerful allegations. Why haven't there not been criminal charges here?
Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. One reason is former members tell us that Shoemaker often has people sign non-disclosure agreements, and once they sign those agreements, then they're either can't or aren't willing to go and do prosecution route or another route possible. Now, another reason for that is just simply that people are still kind of indoctrinated in what's going on there. So Jane Lyons, the mother that you saw in the story, she filed a police report, though her daughter at the time didn't want to press any charges.
And without that cooperation, it gets a lot harder. Okay, interesting stuff, Thomas. Appreciate it.